It's only marked for H2.
Are we done?
Plus O2. It was so confusing now because I think you left.
What the heck?
You can't be on camera. You need to calculate it.
Your boots okay.
I'm always come on here.
I can't use that.
Do you need a calculator for the extra one? Okay. It was oh my gosh, well I'm confused. This is where I am. Started off with that's what I got.
Nope. Alright, let's talk about where you're at.
Please, I'm stuck.
Since I've had a couple people say they're stuck, and based on what Nylasia just showed me, we need to talk. We got some issues. Alright, so can we write the equation?
Yeah. I got the
What does it say it's formed?
H2O.
Okay.
H2O.
At least we know it's formed. So if water is formed, alright, so water is formed, and it's formed from what? Hydrogen plus what?
Oxygen.
Do we know anything about those two?
Atomic.
So put 2's on. Alright, so to balance it, we need a what?
2 next to the H.
2 next to the H.
And 2 next to the other H.
And 2 next to the other H. So are we okay on the equation?
Yeah.
Alright. Now, when you go to draw the chart, alright, I don't generally teach you this way, but maybe this will help some of you. Alright, one of the things you can use when you're trying to figure out how many steps you need as a flow chart.
What are you doing?
I'm just showing you another way to figure out how many steps you need. You can use it, you don't have to use it. So if you start in moles and you need grams, all right, we don't need that section because we're starting in moles. So we're starting in moles, we're going to moles, and we need grams because I start, whoops, the question below. I need to look at the question I'm doing. All right, I'm starting in grams, and I'm going to what? So, I don't need the last one. So, how many sections am I going to need in my chart? So, for those of you who asked me, how many sections do I need in my chart? I know I need how many? 3. So, I'm going to start in grams. The middle section is going to go to what? Moles. And the last section is going to go to what? Moles. Now, some of you, when you're drawing your chart, are having trouble figuring out what goes in the middle. All right? So what did they give us to start with? So we have 35.86 grams of what? That always starts the chart. What has to go down here? Now, if you start with grams of oxygen, what has to go on the top?
Moles of oxygen.
Moles. Now, is this a mole ratio?
No.
Do you have to put oxygen right back on top? Okay? So once moles of oxygen goes on top, what has to go on the bottom? Moles of oxygen, so it can cancel. Now, have we changed compounds yet?
No.
So you have to change compounds and go to moles of whatever they asked for. They asked you for moles of water. Now, if that is too difficult for you and you're like, I can't figure out what you want, Miss Wall. Okay, I get it. Some people just can't follow the logic. You can start your chart with 35.86 grams of oxygen. Whatever's on top has to go where? On the bottom. According to our flow chart, if we start in grams of A, what has to come next? Moles of A. So we're putting moles on the top of A. What's A? What's right there? We're going to O2. All right. Now we're going to moles of B. So whatever's on top has to go where? On the bottom so it can cancel. On top, we're going to go to moles of B. So we're going to moles of B. Well, B is whatever they asked you for. What are they asking us to find? H2O. That's just another way for you to come up with the order in the chart if that helps at all. Okay? It doesn't matter to me. Now, when you go to fill in the chart, mole ratio always comes from where? Coefficient. So what's in front of water? What's in front of oxygen? When you do moles to grams, you don't ever use the coefficients. So this is always a 1. And this, you use your subscript. So O has a 2 times 16, and you get 32. So when you calculate, what did you get there?
2.241.
2.241 moles of H2O.
Yay.
Yay?
Yeah.
All right, so when we do the next one,
You said yay.
all right, this time I gave you the equation. So all you had to do is balance it. So you look here and you have 3 BRs, 2 BRs, so 2, 3, nope, let's all do that backwards. 3, 2, we have 2 aluminum, so 2, that made 6, put a 3 there. All right, so again, if figuring out your chart is an issue, you know you need how many sections? I took the grams off the front, so I know I need 3 sections. All right, so what's my given data?
98.5.
Moles of aluminum iodide. So I have this one. Okay, 98.5 moles of aluminum iodide. ALI3. What goes on the bottom? All right, what is going on top? Moles. Now, sometimes people want to put grams on top. Can grams ever go in the middle of the chart?
No.
It cannot. It'll either be on this end or it'll be on this end. Okay? Look at our flow chart. Grams will either be on this end or this end. It will never be in the middle. Okay? So when you're drawing your chart, grams is never going to be in the middle. So from moles to moles. Again, your internal conversation is, are we changing compounds?
Yes.
And the answer is yes. So if we're changing compounds, go ahead and put your moles on top. This is going to be your mole ratio. So what compound are we changing to? What did they ask for? They asked for iodine. So which of these compounds is iodine? The I2. So we're going to put I2 on the top. And so when we put I2 on the top, this is where we're going to put our coefficients. So I2, oops, wrong way. I2 has a 3 and ALI2 has a 2. All right, so we're going to put a 2 and a 3. All right, if we wanted moles, which would be the day before's work, we'd stop there. But it didn't want moles. Nope, so we keep going. So we put moles of I2 on the bottom. Then grams of I2 on the top. All right, so what goes beside moles?
1.
A 1. Moles to grams is always a 1. And then grams of I2, we put a what? I has 2 of them times 127, so roughly 254. 253 point something something. All right, I just rounded to a whole number. All right, so multiply and divide and tell me what we have. Okay, so what is it in scientific notation? 3.75 times 10 to the what? 4 grams of I2. That's a great answer because that would have been large.
Can you go back to the one that you was doing the chart before thing? Giving them the mole A, mole B.
Yeah. And if you were doing mole to mole, you just have how many steps? 2, because you'd erase the gram A and the gram B.
Okay, so grams and then mole A is grams.
Quiet so I can hear an analogy. Say what?
Mole A is what?
Mole A is whatever the compound is that you're given.
Compound given.
A is always the given.
Okay.
Okay? A is the given. And then B is what you want. Okay? It's just whatever you want.
Too loud today.
That's fine. All right. Anybody else have a question? No? All right, let's look at your homework. Let's see what's bothering you there.
Everything.
Everything?
I might win. Well, can we get the answers first and see if I did right?
Now, you notice there's no quiz up there today. So what does that mean the quiz is? It is tomorrow. I ran it off
How
today.
many questions are there? 5?
No, 6. I put 6. I picked the one that had 6.
35 minutes plus.
So,
An hour? 35.
35.
An hour? No, you said 35 for 5 questions.
No, I said 30 yesterday.
No, you said 35.
I said 30. Y'all were arguing 35 and 40, and I said 30.
I say 45.
No. I'm thinking 35.
What about 37?
I said 31.
All right, so question 1. You should have 455 grams.
Yeah, no.
No.
What?
Wait, what?
No.
Not even. You better. I got one. I got one. We got one. We gave this wall.
Open on the right sheet.
Now, this is the first time I've used this key, and I could have calculated it wrong.
Yes, you did.
I
Yeah.
got one.
Yeah, that's all right.
Wait.
No, you wrong was wrong.
Do y'all have 3.56 times 2 times 18?
Yes.
And it's what?
128.16.
It's possible that I punched that in wrong. Okay.
Together.
I only did it once. It's entirely possible. You know, it's loud in here first period, and other classes in here.
Yeah.
128? Okay. Yeah, it's 3.56 times 2 times 18.
Yeah. But at least we know what we do.
That's good. Uh-huh. That's fine. Why did you round it to 17? Because it should be 16 plus 2, which would be 18. All right, let's fix this.
Yeah, fix it, Miss Wall.
I'm working on it. If I can get the whiteout to come out.
I don't know. I could have, but I can't.
All right, let's try number 2. 0.487 moles. 0.487 moles. All right, number 3. I got 4,272 or 4.27 times 10 to the 3rd grams. I ain't punching in again.
What were the numbers on top? Or like, what were the numbers?
45.21 on the top, 5, 37.8, and then 2 and 1 on the bottom.
We're going for moles.
Yeah, you're going from moles to grams.
No.
Oh, never mind. I went to grams.
I'm
Telling you. I do need to get it together. Let me wipe that out too. I went all the way to grams. This key's a mess.
It really is. Well, get it together.
I need to get it together.
Just get this whole unit.
How about 113?
Yeah. I was right.
All right, I need 4 significant digits, so it's going to look like 0.0. All right, 0.0. All right, how about number 4, 1,091?
Yeah.
You like that one? All right, and number 5, I even hesitate to call this one out. 0.168.
I got
0.1685 for significant digits, so that I have 4. Yep. Can I work all of them out?
You like really good.
Right?
But true.
Didn't take longer than 30 minutes.
Right, Miss Ball. You did 3 and 5.
Yeah, because I have nothing better to do with my time.
3 and 5. Yeah, 3, 4, and 5. 3, 4, and 5.
That means I expect y'all to be quiet while I'm doing this, because I don't need the practice.
All right.
I do need some reading comprehension practice, but not how to work stoichiometry problems. So in the first one, it tells you water's formed. So we have H2O, comes from hydrogen plus oxygen, both diatomic. Balance the equation. Now, what does it ask you to find in number 1? Grams of what? What did it give you? Of what?
Oxygen.
So 3.56 moles of oxygen. So what has to go on the bottom? Moles of oxygen. Are we changing compounds?
Yes.
And you have to put moles on the top line. All right? What did that ask us to find? So that means we're putting moles of water on the top line. So if we want moles, we stop there. We can't. That's for grams. Moles of water has to go on the bottom. So we're putting what on the top line? Grams of H2O on the top line. This is not a mole ratio here. So water has to be on the top and the bottom because this is not a mole ratio. All right. So this is where we have moles. That's where I changed my compound. Does everybody see that? All right. So our mole uses our coefficients. So water has a 2. Oxygen has a 1. Water gets a 1 because this is not the mole ratio. When we add up water, we have 2 hydrogens. Oxygen has 1 times the mass of 1 times the mass of 16. We get 2. We get 16 for a total of 18. Okay? When we multiply these 3 things together, that was the one that was what, 128 grams of water. Questions? All right, number 2. You have sodium chlorate decomposes. Sodium is Na with a +1. Chlorate is ClO3 with a -1. Those cancel out. When you look on your orange sheet, this is MClO3. What does MClO3 break down into? So that means this is going to become Na with Cl and plus O2. That's +1 and -1. So those cancel out also. Everybody good with that? All right. Is this equation balanced? There's 3 O's and 2 O's. So we're going to put a 3 there, a 2 there, and then a 2 there. So from there, what's our given data number 2?
34.6 grams of sodium chlorate.
So what has to go on the bottom line? All right, so what do we put on the top? Is this a mole ratio?
No.
So sodium chlorate has to go back on top. What goes on the bottom? All right, so we're going to put moles on top. So we can change compounds. What compound did they ask us for? Oxygen. All right, so this is our mole ratio. What's in front of oxygen?
3.
And in front of sodium chlorate?
2.
We put a 1 there. The mass of this one, when we add it up, is 106. So when we multiply and divide, what did I say that one was? And you need 3 significant digits, so those 3 are significant. Then moles of oxygen. Questions about 2? Yeah.
So I got a little more detail. Like instead of rounding, I put like 22.99 plus 35.45 plus 48.
That's fine.
Everything in the compound, but I got like 0.195, 0.195, and they're like, I think those are pretty different. Is that all right? As long as I show you my words.
Should be close to 106. So Na has a mass of 1 times 22.9, which would be 22.9. Cl is 1 times 35.4, which is 35.4. O is 3 times 16, which is going to be 48. So 22.9 plus it's actually 0.45. So 22.99 plus 35.45 plus 48 is going to be 106.44. Okay? So that 0.44 is not going to alter your answer significantly enough for me to be that concerned about. So how much did your answer vary?
From yours, 0.48 something. I got 0.195 for the answer of moles of oxygen.
So you got.
I did the exact same thing that you did.
So what is your mass here?
106.4.
And you got
195.
Punch that in again.
Yep.
You have a calculator error. You had the same mistake I have when I did number 1 and got 455. It's a calculator mistake. There's no way.
Right. If you can take points off and we do a calculator error and it's the right one.
I'm not being graded anymore.
That's not fair.
Life's not fair.
The word is gain right fair.
Me too. I got 0.487, but that don't matter to us.
Mm-mm. Did you get it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I calculated like that and I got something different.
What'd you get?
I
I
mean,
did it on a different calculator though. It was the same thing that I told you.
What'd you get?
Oh, on this here, the same thing that you did.
Okay. All right. Number 3. Life's full of challenges, people. Be thankful you didn't have my high school chemistry teacher. You ought to really be pissed. His quiz was 1 question. You either got 100 or 0. All right, so I told you in number 3 it was single displacement. I gave you fluorine and antimony 5 iodide. So what would you do? Because that's all I gave you. Okay, so fluorine is a what? Antimony is a what? Plus 5, and iodine is a. So who switches? Okay, so what do we get? All right, and that's a plus 5 and a minus 1. Good. And then who's by itself? Know anything about it? Fabulous. All right, so we're going to have a 2 and a 5 there, a 2 there, and a 5 there. All right, so there's our equation. What did they give us in this one? Since Ms. Paul had reading comprehension issues here. And yes, unfair as it is, I would take off if you made the mistake I did. 45.21 moles of what? SBI 5. So moles of SBI 5 goes on the bottom. And what did that ask for? Moles of what? So we're just going to moles of fluorine. We're just changing compounds. Where do the numbers come from? So fluorine is a 5, SBI 5 is a 2. We calculate and we get 113.0 is what I got. Moles of fluorine. Yeah.
I didn't even get that same equation,
Yeah.
but I still got the same answer.
Let me be clear, because Joyce is going to tell me this is unfair and Annabelle's going to chime in too, I'm sure. Remember, this test is completely free response because I'm grading the what? The work, not the answer. If I only wanted the answer, I would have given you a multiple guess test. Okay? But I'm grading the work.
How does that work though? Like, why?
You just got lucky. Just got lucky.
I don't get it. What did you mean? It was unfair.
Well, I figured you'd chime in with that whole unfair thing again. But
I was ready to get it.
calculator errors are -1.
The whole work?
No, calculator errors are -1.
Never mind.
Okay? I only take off 1 for a calculator error. All right, if the rest of the work is right, you only lose 1 for the calculator. All right, so now we're on number 4. Ammonia is what? And it comes from what 2 elements? H and N, and we know they're diatomic. We've done this one enough. We know there's a 2 and a 3. All right, we're starting in moles, 96.32 moles of what did I give you? Hydrogen. And we're going to grams this time. Grams of what? How many grams of ammonia? All right, so what goes on the bottom? Moles of hydrogen. So what goes on top? Moles of ammonia. We're changing compounds because we're in moles. We can go ahead and go straight to moles. What goes on the bottom? And then we're going to. So we've got moles to moles. We've got 3 and 2. That's going to be 1. The mass of ammonia is 17. So when we calculate, we get 1,091. Or you can put 1.091 times 10 to the 3rd. They're both grams. Questions about that one?
Well, if you're like a number off, like.
It's fine.
Okay. 1027, is that close enough?
I would say that's a calculator error. It's like the one that Kevin asked about a minute ago. If you have those same numbers and you got 1027, that's a calculator error.
This is the mass.
What is your mass?
I got 6. Always one.
I don't know what you're doing. Are you rounding down in some weird way?
No, I usually round the up one, and then like, I mean, I did it because I did nitrogen 14.
Nitrogen is 14.
And then hydrogen is 1.
Yeah, times 3. So 14 plus 3 would be.
I didn't do that.
Okay. What did you do?
I did the 2 for the oxidation. I did it wrong. I was doing that side.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That would be a bigger deduction because you have the wrong mass. All right. So number 5. I don't remember who asked for this one. This is before somebody said, can you do them all? All right. So it tells you in the question that aluminum sulfate reacts with manganese 7 phosphate. All right. So aluminum sulfate has a +3. Sulfate is a -2. So you get a 2 and a 3. And then it says manganese 7 phosphate. Do you have a 3 and a 7? What kind of reaction is that? It's double displacement. So manganese is going to be with the sulfate. So 2 and a 7. And then aluminum phosphate. Now, both of these have a 3. What's going to happen to those 3s? They're going to cancel. I'm not even bringing them down because we know they're going to cancel. All right? And if I bring them down, then they create issues with balancing and I forget to get rid of them. Okay? So, I'm going to balance the SO4s first. There's 7, there's 3. I'm gonna put a 7. I'm gonna put a 3. I made 14. I'm gonna put 14. I made 14 PO4s. I have 7. I make 2. I made 6. There's 6. All right, what do we have in the question? 134.
0.5 grams of aluminum sulfate.
All right, so what goes on the bottom?
Grams of aluminum.
Yep. So what goes on top? What goes on the bottom? And what they asked me to find? Moles of manganese, something. 7 sulfate. I hope it's that's for phosphate. How many moles of manganese 7 sulfate? Find the question word. It said sulfate. All right. So from there, this has a 3. This had a 7. This gets a 1. And when you add this up, this is 342. Does anybody need me to add that up? I will if you need it. Yep. Aluminum has 2. Sulfur has 3. Oxygen has 12 because the parentheses mean multiply and distribute. Can I use whole numbers or do we want decimals? I think it's 32.01. Can't swear to that though. It's 192.
Yeah.
That should be around 53 point. 342 is the rough estimate. 342 point what? Thank you. Questions about the homework? Anybody?
What was the answer?
The answer was 0.1685. Now, at this point, you should be able to work all 3 types we've done so far.
Should is a strong word.
But now you're going to show us another one. So, you know,
Last one.
Awesome.
Yep. All right. For those of you who need titles, it's number 2 on the board. You only need what's below the green line. Only need what is below the green line.
You said it's grams to moles to
It's grams to moles to moles to grams.
Why are you why are we going from grams to moles to moles to grams? Oh, it's already grams to moles. No, that makes no sense. They be extra.
You could have zoomed in on the picture.
Nah.
Oh, no.
Dylan, did you bring a note? Glad there's not a note.
And then we complain they have it. Whoa.
What?
I need some crackers.
Tell somebody who cares.
You would say so serious about it. Does he just say we're like we're the same person? Same person? Same person. I was like, wait, are we trying to solve or do you just want us to write it down?
Now you just write it down.
We don't want to solve it. You know how to solve it?
Go ahead, do it yourself. Let me know what's up for you.
This is stupid. I don't like it. Is it because you have different compounds that you have to find stuff?
You brought process.
Yeah, that's why.
All right, do we have it written?
No.
Oh, God, people, it's 1.5.
I write slow. I'm slow.
It's 1.5. We should have this written.
What do you think about it?
Somebody feed Annabelle over there.
Huh?
I was trying to get you some food.
But don't you have things to do, right?
Yeah, but like,
Annabelle, did you not bring it?
have it back me, 8 count, close to United, give it to the night, or not good. A box of Girl Scout cookies, back in chips.
Eat your Girl Scout cookies for your baby.
Girl Scout cookies.
But I'm impressed your sister packed you on.
That's every day.
Oh.
I'm really impressed.
She is the grandma, no, my little sister, not Mary Lloyd, my little sister. She would like have me and Mary Lloyd's lunchboxes like at the stairs, because we don't come downstairs till like 8, and she's down there like 7:30. And so like she had her lunchbox in her hand.
What grade's this kid in?
7th grade, she had breakfast made for us, whether it's Eggo waffles or like a bag of goldfish.
My sister
She's so abnormal. Like she, whenever we have friends over, she makes us all cookies, and then like she would make us snack plates. Like we call her grandma. I mean,
All right, so if we look at number, we look at this one. First of all, that's all you got left? You got all put in there. You didn't need it? I think Grandma might have put you on a diet.
Ain't nobody grandma's
Oh,
All right, Sarah, maybe you can laugh at that. She put that whole box in there and all you guys 2 cookies?
3, don't forget that.
Y'all don't have any sandwich bags in the house?
Apparently not.
Well, at least you got a little snack. Alright, so when you look at the problem, you see how it says HF with 10 at the end? The only reason that's there is if you had to write the equation. But I was kind and wrote the equation for you, so it's just telling you 30 grams of HF. Okay? So we have 30 grams of HF and you want to find grams. So several of you said, why do we got to go through all those moles if we're going from grams to grams? We have to switch compounds. What did we say the purpose of the mole ratio was again? You can't go from grams to grams. You have to go through moles to switch the compounds. That's why. So, is the equation balanced?
No.
No. So there's 2 F's, 2 F's, 2 H's, 2 H's. That's all we needed. So, starting with our 30 grams of HF, I don't really think we need to do the annotation this time, so I'm not going to. All right? Because you guys have the idea. Okay? If you want, I'll even draw what I did this morning in the opening, because I know some of you probably like that. Not everybody will. All right. But if we start in A, we have to go to what? Moles of A. Then we can go to moles of B. And then we can go to grams of B. So what does that tell you about the length of the chart? It's got to be 4 steps. Okay? So we're doing 4 sections in the chart to go from a gram to a gram. Okay?
Oh.
So,
Why is it just HF?
because I told you this was only here if you had to write the equation. But since I wrote the equation for you, do you need to use the HF with the 10? No, because I wrote it. You would have needed that if you had to write the equation. So, what has to go on the bottom? Grams of HF. All right. Are we changing compounds? Not yet, but we need to, right? So if we need to, what has to go on top? Got to put moles on top. Is this a mole ratio?
No.
So can we change the compound?
No.
No. So what compound am I putting up here? I'm putting HF there. Now, that's the internal conversation you should be having in your head. Now, if that internal conversation is defective for you and you can't do it, moles A, you started at HF. So that means you're going to moles of what? HF, the given. Okay? I don't care which way you do it, but you've got to grasp that. You started in HF, you're going to moles of HF. But if you're okay with, we're going to moles, it's not a mole ratio, we got to put HF back on top, you don't need to use the flow chart. All right, next section. Whatever's on top has to go back where?
On the bottom.
On the bottom, so it'll cancel. Are we changing compounds?
Yes.
Yes. All right, this is our what? Our mole ratio. What's the function of a mole ratio? To change the compound. What compound did they ask us for up here? SNF2. All right, that's the internal conversation we should be able to have after 2 days of doing this. This is really day 3. Now, if that's still defective in your brain, cool. The question asked us to find grams of SNF2. So we're going to moles of B. Moles of B is SNF2. You're going to put moles of B on the top, which is SNF2. Next section. What goes on the bottom? Are we changing compounds?
No.
Nope, already did it. We're going to grams. Grams of B is still SNF2. Okay? Now, where's the mole ratio?
Like this.
Where's it at?
Second one, third one.
The third one. All right, so this is where coefficients come in. So moles of SNF2 has a, and moles of HF has a. Now, that means the other moles, the grams to moles, both get what? They both get 1s. Our grams, we get what? Got to add up the formulas. So, all
You get 20.
right, that one's going to be 20.
Okay, thank you.
I'm pretty sure that other one's 118 or 119. It's what? I was close.
That was not close. 118.
I can't remember. Getting old. Telling you, I remember some of the weirdest things. I can't remember others. Yes.
You know, on the second block on the top, why did you put one instead of 2 moles and not?
Because the only place you use the coefficients are where? The mole ratio. Once you've used it in the mole ratio, Rosanna, you cannot use it again. You only use it one time. All right, so we get 117. I need another decimal because I need 4 significant digits. And I don't have one, so I'll put 0.0. And grams.
So as long as we have this, and we're gonna be good on whether how many things we need, right?
What, on the your gram A mole A thing?
It's hard to discuss. Okay, did you get 117?
Yes. Yes, I did.
Grams of what?
SZF2.
I think we get it.
Get it?
I didn't write that.
You are sure, girl. Knock yourself out.
Oh, why does this class go by so slow?
Because you're here. All right, try that.
We still got 45
Can you
minutes.
do it? Can we just like talk?
Yeah, well, I said, try that. So good. Now, just as a side note, because people ask me this all the time. You see how that equation up there has a coefficient in it? Don't ask me if I balanced it, if I put a coefficient in it. I didn't put a coefficient in it and balance it wrong. Okay? I wouldn't do that to you. If I put a coefficient in the equation, I balanced it correctly.
So it's already.
It's already balanced, is what I'm telling you. Correct. I'm always stunned when people come up to me during the test or a quiz and I balanced it and they go, "Did you balance it right?" No, I balanced it wrong. She did the S wrong. Huh? I think it's 33.0.
Hey.
Me too. I just went in my class.
Can I what? Yep.
Added like 6 and something.
I'm confused.
You want to sit in jail seat for a few weeks?
Okay.
That's not best.
You should have kept her out of the fight.
Girl, I wasn't in there. Right. If I was in there, I would have been one in the fight.
Well, I'm glad you weren't there then. At least I went to visit one person in Jacket Academy. So they don't?
No, she got suspended.
Yeah.
Oh,
And they said that, I think they said that, people were saying that if you get suspended, it's like you can't come back till next year. But that's what people say. I'm not just sure.
That's not suspended.
That's not what I said. I'm not saying that. That's what somebody told me.
Bro, that's not
she'll be back.
He got
Especially if it wasn't her fault.
And this people get in trouble all the time. This is Jayla's like first time.
Right, it's her first time.
She'll be back. I don't know when, but she'll be back.
But until it's
Just, oh my God.
You know what's supposed to be a rap about?
All right, 5 minute answer.
He was like,
Karen, 5 minute
he was
answer.
like a camel going on. He would like always say.
See, I was just so I could think.
Exactly.
Tell them, Natalie.
No, it's because Nora didn't say it.
Miss Wallace said, that's what I think about it.
When you finish that problem, come change it.
Or not later, I ain't.
You can only change compounds for.
You gotta go to bowls. Correct.
Bro, Nora's not lying. Yeah, he was annoying.
I'm gonna tell him you're talking about it.
Go
He graduated.
That's why he's not there, graduate.
Okay, let's see.
No, it's not here.
Nora said he doesn't graduate.
Like low-key stuff.
Go ahead, tell me.
And but it's not that hard, sweetheart.
We can figure it out.
Quite literally.
He's gonna get punched by Mr. Spot.
Oh, yeah.
Chris, do some work. Do it without all that yapping.
That's all I do is yeah.
What are you doing?
Okay, I'll get my work done.
Okay, y'all should.
Okay, yeah.
Sophomores. And it was you talking a lot
At
too.
least we're not straight.
What do you say?
What did he say? What did he say?
Oh,
That's why you had to whisper it.
It does not be.
Shut up, Wanda. Look like a Wanda.
I am a no longer.
Hush.
Wait. You too.
Yep. Yeah.
I don't have pretty plugged in numbers.
Go for it. Numbers in.
Oh, yeah. 80. Okay.
I think so. I don't know if it's calculated right, but the chart looks right. What'd you get, Sarah? What'd you get?
Yeah, I think we're
Y'all are all
all.
on the same page, so I'm gonna go with yes.
I think we're all stuck on the same.
It's like the two ends on the brain.
What did you get?
Because I broke down on 8.
Okay.
You don't have to add them separately. You can do them.
Combine the, you know, two.
So like,
Yes, you can do them separately or together. Doesn't matter which way.
It's
Yes,
gonna be
you
2
can.
times.
Yeah, so you can do it, or you can do them separately. It doesn't matter. As long as they get added up.
Oh, I didn't say you.
just swallowed up the record, but he's like.
Fabulous.
Me?
She must be a cinnamon yesterday.
Yeah, we're not.
Okay.
We have to put like grams.
Nah.
Or do we just?
Close your friends.
Okay.
Let's go.
What does that matter?
So, I mean, I had the numbers right. And I want
You're silly.
Yes,
I
Mike.
had the numbers right too. And I was trying to
Oh, and on.
They're all capital elements, capital letters.
Just give you.
All right, do we think we need more practice with this, or are we ready to mix all 4 types together?
I guess.
So we can see what we know, what we don't know.
If you think you need practice with this, pull out the sheet we were working on yesterday.
If you think.
That's what I said, if you think. I'll let you work 2 of those. Those of you who don't, I'm gonna give you something else. For those of you who are nodding no to me, pull out yesterday's paper that said mass mole on it, and then on the back side it had mass. Okay? It said mass. It looks like this.
All the worksheets we've gotten still look the same.
Yes, there's one side that says mass.
Actually, it says something.
It says mass, Stoichiometry.
I thought it
Okay?
was. Shut up, y'all.
If you need more practice with that, do 2 and 4, and I can help those of you who need help with this. All right? Now, those of you who are like, nope, I got it. I don't need to practice it. How many paper towels does it take to dry y'all's hands? Every time I tell somebody, yes, you can use the sink. Y'all need 1 paper towel. Okay? 1.
I mean, I ended up blowing my nose with this anyway, so. When I see me use it.
No, I don't need to see you blow your nose. I need y'all to be conservative with the paper towels. Like, use 1.
Well, I mean, I blow my nose. So I'm doing that sounds better.
Now, the paper that Karen is handing you is all 4 types mixed up. All right? The equations are not written. You have to write the equations. I did not shoot for easy equations either. All right? And all 4 types are mixed.
Well, thank you.
There's even one old question thrown in that does not need a balanced equation, so that you can see if you can figure out which one that is. Okay?
Wow, thanks.
Glad you appreciate that.
Yeah, so considerate.
I tried. Okay? And I will roam out amongst you and see if I can help those of you who are lost or get stuck. I'm only 5'5". I used to be 5'6".
You have to pay for doing all of those stuff.
You say what? You're doing as many as you can while I stop.
Do you have like no paper?
Over there.
One day.
Let me know.
Thank you. Put them on your own paper.
Wasted that, you wasted that. I mean,
Use your own paper.
you have paper.
Right, you got paper.
Oh my boy.
Oh. Hey, Karen, can you give me one? I'm not
Yeah, you want one or two?
Two.
Yes.
How many grams of water are there saved from 8 grams?
Alright.
Karen, you.
So really for both?
It's CO2 plus.
Okay.
What's wrong with you?
CO2 plus. It smells like the old people.
Yeah.
It smells like old people.
Oh yeah, it's right here.
What is it?
I need help. More practice on math. Pull out. And do 2 and 4, and I'll walk around and help you with those. If you want good, I'm not blanketed to move on to the rest of the time with your The quiz tomorrow is mixed.
Oh.
And after the quiz, yes, and after the quiz tomorrow, we're mixing and blending all types of stoichiometry. Okay, everything gets mixed.
That's why you have to breathe.
Do I have to breathe?
Yeah.
No.
It's fine.
Nice. I'll go before the period when they pass gas.
We love that. Disgusting.
I'd be like, get it out.
€2 You can actually have it now, make it look much
I'm studying for a math test and fails.
Right.
I love that.
It's like. Caleb, do you understand this? Oh, I'm struggling too. Are you leaving?
I forgot.
No, yeah.
Like I'm doing
Door top left. See the batteries top left?
Is it like carbon dioxide?
Top drawer, far left. Not
I'm not sure about that.
I'm in the drawer.
To the far left of the door.
I'm in the left.
Plastic container.
I'm a spit saying the.
Right?
Well, that's confusing.
They just put mention silver nitrate on the
What you do?
2, 5, 4, 2, 2,
This was the number. Can't tell me 11 or 9.
Just roll it.
Miss Wall, do you just want me to fill this away?
I got one.
I don't recycle
What if you get a battery charger, Miss Wall?
After this. C2H2 plus O2.
Where's the
Keep
H?
what you have on the right.
Oh, it's H2.
I was wondering. I wasn't really wondering. So now you gotta put 2 at the start.
I wish the
Yeah. Yeah.
balance.
You gotta get some more.
Oh. Unless
I'm just
what?
you know.
You better watch that.
Brother, please. Brother.
That's why we do this pay, because I know if I know we have too many quizzes, man.
I thought they closed a lot earlier. What if they don't? Can I drop out? But what if
What'd you get for your bag?
hard? What's that? I know, but the more I have to do that class.
Any organic compound that I give you that's hydrocarbon, not cancel the substance. I write compound in there, not.
Okay.
So in this situation.
We'll try to do a work.
That's not what I was talking about.
And then if you miss it, they should use it right now. One of you is. I don't know. I tell me I had her.
Well, either way, I'm trying to be like that.
All right, who else has a question?
8 plus 2. 8 plus 2.
Yeah, I rounded up.
Yes. Now that it all takes
156, I told you around 160.
I'm saying, like,
Yeah, 160.
I literally, I do, I got
Literally.
right here.
Yes.
Have you ever seen
You still got to
We didn't ask. Tell her no.
Yeah, I'm talking to the class.
We don't care.
I like your boobs.
And no, it's not too much.
You want to be a little mister.
Oh, good.
You got the order sharp.
Saying you're not.
Not too
I
much.
It's not to me, I'm not.
Yes, it is.
And she knew.
What?
She knew?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's getting hot in here.
And you knew.
Yes, that's what we said.
Grams, some O's, some of that is gonna be hard.
Actually, yeah, that would be like, I still don't want to.
Joyce, Annabelle. Do some work.
I'm just trying to know some sense into her.
Yes. Good at relationship decisions, but this is a bad idea.
Right. You see, even.
Oh, that's nice.
What'd you get for,
They're gonna come back.
I just showed you.
If you don't know that.
Five.
Plus one.
Yeah.
that's the one I just asked you?
The only thing you get wrong is what are you going to write?
Well,
Yeah, shoot.
I'm learning. Let's go.
See how you multiply by two?
Let's go.
Don't multiply by two. No.
Sorry. No, I think it's synthesis. Whoever.
No, where?
The chart itself is five.
Right now.
And what math?
How did you like it? No, you just said y'all were friends for a while.
You up? Yeah.
Could you do a little more? You are just now on number one, and you don't even have a chart on it. Neither of y'all do.
Miss Wall, I'm done with number one.
That's fabulous. Y'all can't work together if that's all y'all can manage to get done in this length of time. Some people are all the way through problem number 2.
Well, I'm struggling.
You're only struggling because you can't be quiet. Not because you don't have to do work.
How come nitrate is dropping?
Almost. First of all, lead is not Fe, that's iron. And what kind of reaction would it be if we covered this? So I didn't see the other products, so you're going to need to make the other products so you can balance the equation. Okay, so get rid of the iron and make it lead. You got the right answer. You have one too many significant digits.
Oh.
It's
not. You got what kind of reaction is it? If I cover this part of it, what kind of reaction is that? So double splicing of the other product. I just didn't tell you what it is. Okay, so y'all got a double splice. You got it. Because I just didn't tell you, because you got all the brain cells up here. So double splice. Who said that? I can't stop doing all those drugs so you don't feel like you
Oh, yeah, you were.
Number 2 is gonna be skip.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
I think it's
the
first one.
Yeah, it is.
Remember, all those skills you guys have from the last unit, you still have to have in this unit. They're not going away. After the next test, then you can put them in remission for a short while. After we do those 4 weeks, then we're going to do the gas laws, and they all have to surge back in. Whoa. Sort of like a wave at the beach.
The wave at the beach.
Correct. You know how they go out, and then they come back in?
Well,
They can go back out for a little while, and then have to come back in.
In that one movie,
They can't go away.
so none of you have
No, you.
Oh my God.
He said you could do a little process.
That before you it has to be by
He's not a beast. He's the prince.
Yeah. Yeah. They're not going to be together because of process. You do all choose together, you're all right.
I just don't feel like getting on the sheet.
Positives together, let's positive, ions negative, they're together. Now who's going to be together in the other compound? Yeah.
Miss Wall, did I set this up, Miss Wall? I'm just going with the pharmacist.
Alright.
Comes this up.
It literally says lead, nitrate,
This up?
lead,
Yep.
nitrate. Why is there 2 on the 6?
No.
The 2 is pressed, it's supposed to be here.
Really?
And so you press.
If it's not on the right,
If there's nothing right there, and you're only looking at the that, what kind of reaction would that be on the test? It's not
oh, compound, compound, double.
I don't know. I just didn't think it was compound.
No, why she wanted us to think.
Two.
Miss Cooley, I was just saying though.
Why do I have to say it if you don't have a place to get figured out?
Miss Wall, I got
You're right there. Yes, you're right, based on what I can see on the chart. Usually like
0.
I am.
0.04.
Yeah, you talk
So they gave.
Yeah. Pretty sure that was something more based on what I just looked at. Yeah, you gotta find the mold and
It's because I put iron on it. I put it
that should be KI 19, 2 hours.
Yes.
Yeah, the only thing you have wrong is you have 2 otherwise you're good.
Miss Wall, I'm on the right track, I think.
Okay.
So how are we supposed to?
It's F plus R.
Which one is which what?
This is grams.
Going bowls.
It would be F plus C R.
You're going 3 steps. Grab some bowls and bolts and grams are always 3 steps.
One F.
Yeah.
You want to tell you something?
No, it would be C3.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Point 04445.
Is this right, Miss Wall?
It's a place called Greer.
You're right there.
If we don't finish this homework,
Oh, yes, sorry.
I'll tell you how many when we get there. Alright.
Well, do you what?
Oh,
I got a very small.
let's see.
Oh, I know that.
Hey, I see you.
But that's. Well, what I do
Oh, yeah. Did you get .045?
All right, sure.
Three, two, there's no 32 or 2 or 3, 2,
Why is it right there?
Because you had that over here and you lost it on that side.
Just slide by.
All right, this is a double splice reaction. So what's in front of KI right there?
I don't like at first. Drop that 0. That makes it'll make it.
This one.
Well, second 0 will be to the right.
To do her first. So I got my equation for number 2. So it's from most,
Yeah, but
From both.
these are.
Yep. No, stop. It's gonna be a mole ratio. So what's in front of KI and what's in front of, okay? What's that thing on the top? Okay, what's the PB? Yeah, I know which lead compound. So if this was the quiz tomorrow, you don't just have a lead compound up there. Is it PbNO3 or is it PbI2? And put PbI on the top next to the mole. Yeah. Times 1.
Yeah, meter.
You only use something. Yeah.
Exactly.
He said you have paper.
I said you had people.
No.
Shut up,
You could say 14.8 divide 165. Divide 2. Both in the denominator, you're dividing by both of the numbers. So it's the same answer. All right, who else has a question?
So it'd be CRF and then CO.
Thank you.
About every year. I hadn't heard from anybody in this section of the room. Okay?
Are you
Yes.
okay, take it right now. You get 3, 2 CR, 2 CR, and then 3.
All I'm doing, Kevin, is something. She said,
All right.
well, take it to the floor. Here, hey, I can get out myself.
Why can't I do my best line?
The best line, that's not
You're the daughter, you're not
Jesse,
You
know what? I
All
don't
we heard
like
was
your.
gone, we both left.
For number 3 weeks.
That is my best
That means.
What are you gonna do there?
No, it is, yes.
So,
He fell me. That's serious.
But guess what? You're not doing us. You're not doing that's it. No, and then I guarantee you, she will find them somehow and kick your ass because of it.
I just got.
Oh, wait, no, it's MO.
Number 3.
The one from last year?
Did you get a cigarette?
You guys are going where? It really I will follow you. And I will call you. Actually, I remember 5. You're actually great. Sarah, when you first great. I actually do it.
Oh, yeah.
This is so you're gonna be like.
I think you're used to go to Grand Prix all the time.
Our best thing, I won't show up. I'm kind of strict. Old and loud. Oh my gosh, this is the easy one. Great, I'm gonna help it. And I'm
Or you can garden.
yeah, I will. You really
This
Yeah, the displacement,
Yeah, Barbara.
As reacts to flush.
I don't know what
CR after.
I wouldn't be able to do nothing at work. Yeah, they don't even want to give me their money.
I think we should have a party after the dinner.
And this is just finding.
This is my first
Alright, who else? Still got about 8 or 9 minutes.
When I seen it, I just started laughing. I was like, oh. I didn't look at the shit you did.
Well,
What?
I have trouble writing anyway. But after I get my
She go like this.
In simple form.
This is.
Then write it down. You don't say any, yeah, then you were CR. Have a plus sign. Alright? Do we know anything special about flooring before we move on to the next topic? Are we supposed to know anything special about flooring?
Am I breaking these two apart? Does that mean one that's like?
Hector now owns 5 clear branded lots. Do they ring a bell?
What are you?
Flooring. Do we know anything special about flooring?
Are you?
Like, say, well, I did all this, the dye tie.
Yes, that's all. What are you gonna put on flooring? Chromium 3 fluoride. Or iodide, sorry. Chromium 3 iodide. We got 3 more. This is option number 3.
No.
Iodide. Did I give you iodide? No.
Hey.
Exactly. It's the only question I believe. You're just changing grams to moles. You're not writing an equation, it's grams to moles. It's composition of stoichiometry. It's the old questions we used to be able to do.
Yeah.
Just grams to moles.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yes.
Yeah, I just read the.
Chris's.
Yeah. My reaction is, I'll tell you this. No single display. So that's like the same
Oh,
size.
you're right. I put 263 times 10 to the third.
Yeah.
You need.
Okay, so now we know anything about chlorine. Hector now owns 5 clear brand iguanas. You need to learn the 7 diatomics.
5.96.
What's the oxidation number for chromium? What's the oxidation number for fluorine? Why did you put 2 there?
Oh, on here?
Plus 3. You should be testing 1. Stop slapping the 2 in place. I'm out.
Did you mean?
Yes.
What did you say? Oh, this one.
What we don't finish, I'm going to-
Oh, yeah.
Do you like watching films?
It's part of the job. No, we paid enough for that.
No, but it's not behind the decimal window. It's just when you're signing for and you pay on a
'Alright, we have about 4 minutes. If you have not finished through number 7, alright, you have to do through number 7 for homework. Not
Through number 7.
through 7.
So what's the second?
1 through 7. Bottom of the
I wasn't even thinking that until you reminded me.
I do that to myself.
Through 7.
I'm down.